You need to find your lost identity. Yes, we're born to a family with parents and brothers and sisters in a certain place in the world, and we go to a certain school, maybe a certain college, and we go to work for a certain company. But your identity, your true identity, you have yet to find. All you know now is a fallen life. You were born as a fallen being to fallen people. And people go around and they do the best they can. But something is missing. And what is it that is missing? It's you have to find your true identity. And your true identity is something that awaits you. Now, how do you know that you have a true identity? Well, you kind of have a sense of it in a couple of ways. First of all, when you were a little kid, you dreamed of being a prince or a princess or a noble knight or warrior, somebody brave and kind. And then, as you went older, as you became older, the world started to get to you. Slowly but surely, in some mysterious process, which is not so mysterious. You can get my books and read about it, but I'll just say slowly and surely, in a mysterious process, you changed so that you no longer dreamed of being the noble person. You dreamed of something ambitious, or you dreamed of surviving, or you dreamed of getting even, or you dreamed of security. And so in that way you were becoming accommodated and adapted to this fallen life where you're separate and you don't eat from your true identity and you don't know what it is. But like I said a long time ago, you suspected, you hoped, you dreamed that you might become that noble person. And you hear about some people who seem to do it. You hear about a George Washington or a Mahatma Gandhi or a noble warrior or an Albert Einstein, a Madame Curie. You hear about these people somehow that they were able to not lose something special. So let's look at it. This something special has something to do with innocence, and the more innocent you are, the closer you are to it. It has something to do with not adapting and conforming and yielding and surrendering to all the forces that want to keep you down. Have you ever noticed that? But you see, what happens is a lot of us resent those forces. And then we make up our mind to strive ambitiously so that we won't be put down. So we strive through sports or through education or money or somehow or other to try to rise above other people. But do you see what you're trying to do is to rise above other people and somehow show them. But there's a big difference between rising above other people and finding your true identity. If you rise above other people and put them down, then all you're doing is doing to them what was done to you. And you are tempting them to hate you and to try. You see what I mean? So So what does that, so does it mean then that you have to be a failure in life? See, when you look around the world, you see squalor many places. And there are reasons for it. And mostly it has to do with those in charge who want to keep the people down so that they can rise above. But the squalor, people adapt to it. And they begin to feel like it's okay. So that's one way. But then what lurks at the end of this life of being put down and putting others down and rising above other people and putting them down, and they're putting you down. Do you see that when you were a little kid, you knew that wasn't the way to be? But what is the end of the line for that? It's death. That's the ultimate force that wants to put you down, with which you struggle and then somehow try to adapt to it. So there has to be a way that you can find your true identity. So it's like outside of the system. It's outside of the box. You've heard of thinking outside of the box. It's outside of the box, outside of the system, where you can be free to discover, to learn, and to grow, to become this noble person. That's what we call character. And this noble identity that you can acquire, your true identity, is not dependent on putting other people down. And it doesn't, and you don't have to be ambitious. It is obeying, following, loving a different master. And this master, Christ, for example, he was able to transcend time and space. Do you realize that not only, see, they tried to put him down, didn't they? They spit on him. They put a crown of thorns on his head till his head was totally bloody. They beat him up. They tortured him. I think more than the Bible doesn't give you the whole story. Probably that movie, what was it? The Passion of the Christ, that's probably a little closer. So they tried to put him down. But he didn't hate them. He just did. He knew that that's what he was called for. And there was a reason for it. So he did what he was supposed to do. And then he died. But then guess what? He took his body back. He took his body back. He conquered death. And then he appeared to the disciples, to many people. And do you remember? He walked through a wall. He transcended time and space. He overcame even that. And where was his true identity? Where did he get his character from? He got it from God. Now, where do you get your character from? Well, you got it from Adam and Eve, and your grandparents and your parents, and the other kids who teased you, and the bullies, and the pompous teachers, and the experts, and the professors, and the bureaucrats, and the music and entertainment stars, and the sports stars. And you get it from your car and your clothes. See? So really what you have is nothing. You slap on something from the outside and there's no character. There's nothing that is being built within that when it's time to drop the body, there is something there that transcends death. So You have to find your true identity, and I've already hinted at it. I think you know where it lies. And it's not the music star, or the entertainment star, or the sports star, or the teacher, or the professor, or the financial consultant, or the regional manager, or your parent. See, ideally, Father should have something of that in him. So you see it in him, and you know that it exists. Not that you become him, but that you see that he's coming from a good place. You see this good place. Christ talked about a heavenly estate. What kind of an estate do you live in now? Mostly it's like hell on earth, a hypnotic estate where everything is compulsivity. See, you're not free, but there's a heavenly estate, and good comes from there. And then if you could find that, then God is in charge of your development. He will give you private counsel. You will kind of know things. You will see what to avoid and what to move toward. And you will see your mistakes in the light that come in his light, and you'll see what your mistake is, and then you won't make it anymore. You'll see your resentments and your grudges and your secret hostilities and your little lies and your little manipulations, and you'll just see those, and you'll see what's wrong with them. Before, you couldn't see what was wrong with them. Now you'll see, and you'll just let it go. And then you'll notice things, little things. I'll give you an example. This morning I was out for a walk, and there were a couple of beautiful redwood trees, the mighty, mighty redwood trees. Huge, standing tall. And on the ground under the redwood trees were the acorns from the redwood tree. I wish I'd have brought it up here so I could show you. I have it in the garage. And do you know what? They're small. Usually acorns are big, aren't they? Pine cones. You know what I mean, pine cone? These are little pine cones. Little pine cones. They look like miniature pine cones. The mighty redwood tree makes little pine cones. See, God likes that sort of thing. He does things the way he likes them. And that's why he chooses people like Moses, imperfect person. Fisherman, imperfect. He chooses the imperfect because he likes doing that. And the haughty ones, the arrogant ones, well, they prosper for a time. But he does things in this most wonderful way. But anyway, I'm just giving an example of how I saw that. Now, it was a beautiful thing to see those little tiny acorns. And I understood something, saw something. So that's the way your life will be. From the time that you begin on this journey toward finding your true identity, from that moment forth, you will begin to have little realizations and little insights, and you'll see things, and you'll notice little things that nobody else notices. You'll notice. Albert Einstein looked at the clock tower and said, what's that all about? Train moving past the clock tower. So anyway, I think you got the idea. You have to find your true identity. It's not out in the world. See, we look in the world, don't we? And you think, if I just had the right guy or the right gal, the right husband, the right wife, the right job. No. Seek first the kingdom of God in his right way, and all other things will be added unto you. So yeah, you can get married and have kids and have a nice job and have a nice house and a nice car, and you can have all these things, but they won't be the basis of your identity. Do you understand? First, you seek God in his right way, and then these other things will be added unto you in great bounty, more wonderful things than you can possibly receive, because first you sought God, and then from him you will find your true identity.